another live stream. I apologize for the delay yesterday, but we are back. Let me get this in a correct position. There we go. Anywho, if you cannot tell by the apples in this image, well, today we are doing Light Yagami and Ryuk from one of my all-time favorite animes, Death Note. Oh my god. I watched this show last summer. That was my very first time seeing it, and it's so good. It's so good. The drama. Oh my god. I highly recommend. It's so good. So let me do a poll. Why does it say new on poll? Okay, let's see. Have you seen Death Note? Yes or no? Let's make that black to go on theme. And hopefully it stays right where I put it. Yay! Oh my gosh. Okay. Also, I decided to play some music. It supposedly is copyright free, so let's hope so. Anywho, let's just get into this. I'm very excited. And I think I just want to start with Ryuk's eyes because that is the most colorful thing in this image. So let's choose a really nice orangey red, a nice neon orange, and maybe a little bit of yellow as well. Let's start with the yellow. Oh, I need a black as well to fill in the middle, so let's do that. And I might actually need to go grab my sharpener, so alrighty. Let me sharpen the black real quick. Okay, and I gotta make sure to leave a little white space for the glow of his eye, just like that. Okay, that's perfect. Okay, and now on to the bright yellow, so we're just gonna do that just a little bit right along there. His eyes are glowing, very bright. And then we are moving to Atomic Tangerine, putting that right around the iris. Do a bit more on that eye. Hello, thank you, thank you. Then we are moving on to Scarlet. This goes on the outer rim of the eye. And then we are going to go back to the Atomic Tangerine because his eyes are quite literally glowing, so there's a little bit going outside of his eye. And then we need to find a really nice dark blue. I'm thinking, might have to swatch these on the back. It's a really dark teal that he has. So let's swatch Pacific Blue. And then we have Blue Green. Okay, so I think Pacific Blue will probably be best. Pacific Blue. And that goes right along his little cat eye looking thing. I don't know if this is actually makeup on him or if it's just a part of his skin. But then that also goes in the center right there. And then his lips as well, that's the same color. Ryuk's design, like, is so awesome. It is so unique and I love it. And I need to cosplay him one day. I don't know how, but I definitely need to. Alrighty, and his mouth is very dark red. So let's see. We have maroon. Making sure to avoid his teeth that are slightly yellow. And I honestly might need to add a touch of brown to this in his mouth. Let's see. Let's choose this one here, which is sepia. And just go right on top to kind of tone that down and darken it up a bit. Then his teeth. Let's see if we can find a good yellow for that. I think just straight up yellow, and I'll do it very lightly. It's kind of a bit neon, but oh well. Okay. Oh, also, his nostrils are that same blue. And then there are many shadows in both his hair and his outfit as well, but the highlights of his hair are also this color. So let's kind of do, whoops, I'm going off the edge there. Kind of a shadow-like shape, just kind of mimicking the spikes in his hair. And then we will color the top side of that, this lighter blue. And then I don't have a dark enough blue, so I think I'm just gonna do black for the other part and then go on top with this blue as well. Hopefully that'll look okay. And then just bringing it over here. And going in with black. And just coloring in the rest of his hair. Hello, from all the way from Kansas. Welcome. My morning is actually going pretty well so far. Thank you for asking. And how about yourself? I hope things are going wonderfully over in Kansas. And I'm just gonna color all the rest of his hair with black. And then going on top of that with the Pacific blue to add more blue tones back into that. And this also just kind of fills in any of those little white spaces that were left. Now, because the top of his hair is not at all dark enough, because I don't have that dark of a crayon, I'm just gonna go over that with black very lightly. Eating some breakfast during the golden hour here, I sit and watch my squirrels devour the acorns from my tree. Oh my gosh, that sounds like such a beautiful morning. And I hope you are enjoying everything. That literally sounds like a scene from a Hallmark movie. That sounds so lovely. Say hello to the squirrels for me. Yeah, adding the black on top definitely helped. Alrighty. Okay, now for his face. His skin does have a slight blue tint, but it is mostly gray. So let me just start out with the grays and then we can add a touch of blue on top. Now these are two different grays. We have Timberwolf and gray, but as you can see when I swatch them, oh, there is a difference. Okay. I don't know what happened before, but I felt like I used the same one over and over. Okay, anywho, forget what I was gonna say. Let's go in with the darker gray and do the shadows there, right under his chin. Kind of curving out there. And then in his nostril area, in between the eyes, right above his eyes, and then creating a shadow over here. Do a little bit on his ear and the side of that ear, and then creating a little shadow there along the hairline, and then coloring the rest of this side with that dark gray. And then we will go in with this lighter gray Timberwolf and then do everything else. And then I will go on top of all of this with a very light blue, probably more of a periwinkle, just for a little bit of diversity with all the blues. And then let's do his shoulders as well, because it's the only other part of his skin that you see. So going back with the dark gray, right along the collarbone there. There's a little bit of shadow right there. And then pretty much everything over here, but there is a little highlight along his collarbone there. And then we'll just color the rest of that in. Can you guys hear the music okay? I put on a little copyright-free playlist. And just coloring the rest. Going in with the light gray for the highlights. And now let's find a nice blue. Honestly, I'm thinking this blue right here, which is periwinkle. My apples for Ryuk. Going in with periwinkle just on top of all of his skin. Now he does have a blue earring that's kind of like glowing. So let me do that first, actually. I feel like we just have to go bright and bold. So I'm going to be using the Crayola Gel Effects. There's no name on this. It's just blue. So let's do his earring. And the little chains are gray as well. I'm just going to make those black because that's the darkest gray I have. And I don't want everything to blend in. Perfect. Okay, going back in with periwinkle, going over all of his skin. Just adding a touch of blue, and this will also help blend everything together and get rid of any of those extra white spaces. I don't know if any of you are familiar with the Death Note movie, the live action movie. I don't know when it came out. I feel like it's 2014, 2015. That was one of the very first things that I ever watched on Netflix, and that was before I knew anything about this show. And back then, having no knowledge of the show, I thought the movie was so good. And then I watched the show and I'm like, oh, that was terrible. But I do recommend watching both, especially just to compare them. Like, the animated anime show is so top notch. The writing, oh my god, phenomenal. It's just so good. And then you watch the movie and it's like an April Fool's joke. Alrighty, lovely little blue on there. Okay, now he has little, they're not spikes. Honestly, it looks like staples, like his clothing is stapled into him. So I'm gonna do that with the dark gray, which is just gray. Going in with a heavy hand, so it's a bit darker. Okay. Now his outfit is a very dark blue. Like I said, I don't have a ton of blues to choose from, but I am going to do something a bit different from what I've already been doing. So let's go ahead on the back and swatch a new shade. Let's see how it looks. This is Cadet Blue. That's like perfect. And then I will do the shadows in black. Okay, that's perfect. He has little feathers going on there. Those are more blue toned. I'm just gonna wait until I color the rest of his outfit. So let's go in with black to do the shadows first. Now these are actually highlights there. And then, sorry, I'm looking at a photo to the side just to compare. Make sure I get everything right. I don't know what song this is. It's called True Crime Documentary and Chill. I would not say that this song is chill. And then there's a little shadow here. Then right along on this side. And then I gotta make sure I don't start coloring the feathers here with the black. This song is so intense, it's not chill at all. Then I think right under there. Okay, let's move on to Cadet Blue to color everything else. I'm pushing with a very heavy hand with this color. This song is called Funk It. Alrighty. I think I will go over that with black as well. It's just such a stark difference, and his outfit is very dark. But let me color in these highlights over here. Then along here. going up the side, and then a little bit over here. Okay, I think that's good. We can go back to black. And then I will go over the highlights very lightly with black, just to darken it up a bit. And then for the background here, I'm not going to do that just yet, but as you can see, there is a circular design, and I like to choose coloring pages that kind of go with the overall theme of the page itself. And I just feel like it's very, you know, reminiscent of the world that Ryuk came from. So I'm going to keep it very blue and black, and I feel like I'm going to add another touch of like that orangey, burnt orange color that's going on with his eyes. I just feel like that'll be a nice little touch. Okay, now I think I'm just going to do the book itself, color that all black. I might have screwed up with the lettering because it's gray, like metallic gray in real life on the book. So let's just see. Okay, I should be fine. Also, I never draw hands, and I feel like those are pretty good. I'm very content with that. I think I'm just going to keep it a bit lighter around the lettering, and then I'll kind of do like an ombre and then make the rest of the book darker because it is all black. I feel like that's pretty good. Now, Light has the most red eyes that I've ever seen. So let's go back in with Maroon. Okay. And then for the shadows on his face, let's do... I feel like we should do a bit more of a purple for the shadows on his face. Let's see. How about this one here, which is Blue Violet. Basically just right under the hairline there. Right under his hair. And right up there. And then on the side of his face. Under his nose. Under his, I don't know if that's a lip or a part of his chin, I don't know. And then making a shadow right along there on his neck and coloring the rest of that in. And then let's do the same for his hands, just coloring the underside of the fingers. A bit by the knuckles. And then I think I'm going to use the same to make the shadows on his shirt here. And just a little over here. Okay. Now I don't have the best selection for skin tone, like at all. So let's see. I might want to do a bit of a more yellowy base. I think I'm going to go in with the Laser Lemon. I guess we can test it on the hands first. Okay, no, I think that's perfect, honestly. A very nice base color. And just doing this anywhere where there are highlights. And then going in with Peach. And I'm going over both the yellow highlights and the purple shadows with this. Alrighty. Okay, for the hair, let's do some swatches on the back. He has very like milk chocolatey hair, I would say. That's how I would describe it. Again, don't have the best selection of browns. So let's see, I have sepia and then raw sienna. I feel like we're just gonna have to make do with that. Okay, I'm gonna do the shadows first with sepia. He has so many little strands of hair. Okay. Then I'm gonna go in with raw sienna to do the highlights. I'm gonna go in again with sepia just to darken up some of the areas. Okay, his shirt is completely white, but I do want to add a little something to that, so I think I'm gonna go in with periwinkle. And I'll blend that in with the purple tones as well that I used to make the shadows on his shirt. I am obsessed so far. Okay, I think I'm just gonna get his belt mechanism all done with. It's a very reddish brown, so let's see. I think I'm gonna go in with sepia and then I'll add some maroon on top of that. And then this little part down here. Then going in with maroon, just to darken that up. And honestly, I might add a touch of purple as well to cool it down. Let's go in with that same purple, the blue violet. That's perfect. Okay. And down here as well. Okay. Now let's do some of that for the shadows in here. His little belt buckle face thingy. And then all along here. And then I'll color his little notebook that he has in black. Then go over the purple with black. I cannot talk. And the little skeleton guy. Then I'll go in with gray. Oh, wrong one. Gray. And just doing the rest of this, also going over the purple and black just to kind of melt that all together. Forgot to color that little bit. And then he has a little beaded lanyard chain type of thing. So I'm using gray and then the lighter Timberwolf to color in between. And going over all of that gray. Okay. I think I'm also going to use this Timberwolf just to make sure the black is also all blended together. Looks a bit choppy. Now, his little feathers, I mean, they aren't little in the slightest, but I think to highlight that, I'm also going to use a touch of this Crayola gel effects that I used for his earring. Just very lightly in some areas to give a nice pop of blue. And that'll be pretty much the only highlight for this. And then there's just a little bit over here. That little part should be black. There we go. Ooh, I'm throwing crayons. There we go. That looks better. Okay. And his feathers are actually a very dark blue, so once again, I'm just going to go in with Pacific blue, and then I will go over all of that, trying to leave out the highlights with just pure black. Oh, Olive! Hi! Hello! Hi, Olive! My cat Olive just woke up. And I know it looks like I didn't even do anything different, but now I'm going to go over all of that with black, trying to leave out those highlights that I did. Hi, Olive! I think that looks pretty good. Then over here, I mean, pretty much the only highlights are very scarce. So I'll just kind of section those out. And then I think just to really make the highlights pop, I'm going to go back in with the Gel Effects Blue and make sure they are vibrant. Okay. Oh, his little skirt. Okay. So let's grab gray and do some of the highlights. There really aren't that many. And then back in with black. Alrighty, now it's time to move on to the background here. I did say that I wanted to incorporate more of the orangey red tones from his eyes. So let's start out with that. I used Scarlet for a majority of his eye. I think I'm gonna do these little teardrop shapes. I think I will go in with the Atomic Tangerine. I think I'm going to do those triangular shapes. That'll also be a really good contrast with all the blue. And then I think I'll add a touch of maroon as well, just to go with all the other red hues going on. Okay, I believe that's all good. I have maroon. I think I'm just going to do these little ovals right here. Okay. And I think I'm going to just color outside of the triangular shapes with this as well. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Okay, I'm looking at the poll. I forgot I put a poll. But it looks like everyone who has voted, they have seen the show. Or the movie, I guess. I didn't specify. And this looks like the very last bit. Okay. Just thinking what I should do next. I feel like I want to add another touch of this blue. Oh my. This chill playlist is it's all over. Okay, I think I'm gonna color that section with the blue. Or would that blend in too much there? Or should I just do more black? I think I'm just gonna do the outside black for now while I figure out my plan. I'm gonna give this a little sharpen. I'm actually gonna flip this around so it's easier for me to color at the top. I think this is the most pressure I've ever applied when using crayons. My god, I just want this to be as opaque as can be. I think that looks very good so far. I'm all set with like all of my other crayons, like none of them are running low, but I feel like I need another black very soon. And I don't think you can buy individual crayons. Maybe you can, I don't know. But I need to see if I have a friend willing to give up their black crayons. Oh my, okay. I have indents in my hand now. Okay, let's get rid of this mess here. Alrighty, so the background, I just wish I had more dark blues, you know? Maybe we can add like a dark green and kind of layer that. I have this green, which is tropical rainforest. It's already pretty blue toned. Maybe we can kind of layer that, maybe? Let's try it just in the center circle ring, whatever. It kind of does something. A bit patchy, as you might be able to tell. I think I'm going to do that around this one as well. And going on top with black. And then I'm gonna go back in with that scarlet color and kind of revive some of these. And then I think I'm just gonna do black for that inner bit. If you liked this, then please be sure to leave a like. Let me give you a little bit better of an angle. I think this turned out really good. I'm very happy with it. Let me just quickly date it. Today is, where should I do this? 9/3/25. Sign my name. Okay. I'm very happy with how this turned out. I think it's a big time sleigh. Yeah. It's a bit messy in areas, but when is it not messy whenever I do crayons? So, anywho, I hope to see you next Tuesday as I do more spooky Halloween themed coloring pages, and this Friday is my 100th stream. That is so weird, so wild. So I don't know if I'm gonna do like a new game or something. I'm currently doing Papa's Hot Doggeria, but I might do something a bit different just to, you know, celebrate the big stream. So I'll let you guys know. But yeah, thank you for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you when I see you.